Hello everybody, welcome back to another edition of the EcoStruxure Machine Expert HVAC. I'm your host, Leandro Mala, and in this video what we're gonna see is how we can get started with the embedded display that we have on the Modicon M172. So let's go to the software. So for those who don't know, okay, the EcoStruxure Machine Expert HVAC has the environment to program and design the embedded display that we have on the M172. The embedded display that we have on the M172 is a monochromatic display, okay, and it can help us to have access to some of the variables that we have inside the PLC in order to read and write information to it, okay. So along on this training that we're going to have in a series of videos, I'm going to try to explain to you how we can use the embedded display to the maximum potential that we have on this unit. So let's get started with this. So I'm going to create a new application, M172 embedded display, and I'm going to use this one. Something very important is that you can create your application even if you're using M172 that doesn't have the display. Okay, it doesn't matter, you can use it anywhere. Okay, so in case later you're going to have an embedded display, you have already done your application. So in order to program this, okay, we just need to go to display, and in display you're going to have our environment. Okay, now if you pay attention, the M172, the one that has the embedded display, you already know that we have some LEDs, but on the embedded display we have some keys. These keys over here, these keys are the ones that allow us to navigate through the display, because the display is not touch. Okay, so you will need to use the keys in order to navigate. So if we pay attention here in the display part, I'm going to move myself, whoop, different group. There we go, much better. So if we pay attention here, we have a lot of things. Okay, so on the HMI actions, if you're unable to see this, view tool windows, HMI actions, there are some predefined actions. These actions are like procedures, action that the HMI will execute when something's happened. In this case, what happened is that you press something, and that press is related to the keys that we have. Okay, so if you press enter, that is the one over here, the OK, it means that you are going to edit mode. So you're going to edit, or you're going to press something. So imagine that there is a button, then if you press the OK button, the OK key, the HMI will execute this. Okay, now if you press up, it will go to the next field, or if you press down, it will go to the next field. And field is related to the object number that we have in order to navigate to the screen. Okay, because there is no touch at all. So if we have different objects, this up and down will help us to go to the next object. And then when we are in that object, we can use the enter to edit or to execute what is inside that object. Okay, so that is the main thing. So let me just go down a little bit. There we go. So once that you know that, okay, that will help you to navigate through your screen that you have. Okay, now on the left side we have some of the configuration that we have for the screen. If we go to properties, we have the possibility to specify which is the screen or page, is what they call here, it's going to be the first one to appear when we boot up the HMI and it loads the application. In this case I have only one page. Okay, I'm going to explain that later, but we're going to have several pages, and then we have the possibility to select which one. Then we are going to have page model. That basically this is how you are going to navigate using the application. I'm going to go into more details later, okay, but the idea of the navigation here is, okay, if you're using the flat, it means that you have just one page and you are open pages, like a pop-up. So you are open pages. And then to go to the next one, you just need to close this one, the act one. So if you open the first one, you have the initial, open one, then you just need to close this one to go to the previous one. Okay, you can open, close, close, close. That's the idea. Then we have hierarchical. That basically is what I usually do. I have all the different pages, okay, imagine 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I can go and jump open without any issue. Something that I usually do, for example, for any other HMIs like Visual Designer or Predator Terminal Expert, just go to the page that I want and I just don't care. But I'm going to show you that later, something very specific. This is just a huge introduction to the environment, and then we go into all the details. Systems option, this is just to configure all the default fonts that we have. Language selection, I'm going to focus later on this one, okay, but here you can have different languages, you can export, import, but we're going to talk about that. The idea for you is to know that we have the possibility to change the language of the system or the application that you're going to use. Then we have the possibility to use, where I am, here. Global on timer, that basically this one is a script that's going to be executed cyclically. Okay, we're going to talk about that later, but I just mentioned that we have this. And resources, I never use it, this part, I never touch it, but you have this option, but it's more related to the fonts and the images. So I'm going to close this. Okay, this is the beginning of the whole series that we're going to have for the display. So it's important for you to know that we have this toolbar of elements that help us to design the screen. By screen, I mean the pages that we're going to have for the embedded display. So if you're unable to see that, you have these three things that we have the possibility to select in order to appear this over here. Then you have the possibility to have this remote and local, which is going to be the profile that you're going to use, because we have the possibility to use one of the TM172 display, graphic display, DGRP, I believe. So you can replicate this in application or not, and then you can have the possibility to select that over here. I usually put remote and local, so it's going to be the embedded, and if I have another one, it's going to be the remote, so it's going to have the same application, and I don't need to do the things again. So here, if you don't have possibility, over here. So this button is going to be for compile. Here you have the simulation, the same as you saw on the programming part, and this one is for download. Okay, so what we're going to do now is to start with the HMI, a little bit rough. So by default we have one HMI, one page. Okay, you're going to hear me saying the screen display, but the page here. So I don't know if you can see it, but we have like a play icon. That would mean that that would be my initial page. So if we double click over here, we have the area where we're going to place our objects. Now, if I'm not wrong, you probably have different dimensions here, depends on the software that you are using. Okay, I always recommend to use the latest version of the software. So I believe by default is 8. I believe that is the default. The problem will be that if you place the object, it will move by the pixel that you have already defined. So to have more flexibility, I recommend to select the page that you're working with and select 1, 1. That will be my recommendation, but it's up to you to do what you want, as always. So that's one thing to do. Then you have the possibility to edit this you can have a title. So you will define this title in the top. And here in caption, you have the possibility to enter something. So main screen. I know. Main screen. I know, very creative these days, so main screen. Then you had also the possibility to change how the border is going to be changed. I'm going to show you. So this is the flat one. Then you have the raised, and you see that you have different things over here, just a little bit more fancy. And then you can have the sunk, and you have this mark. Okay, so you can play with these three, sorry, how you can define the screen. And it's not mandatory to have the main part over here, the title, but it's a little bit more fancy. You can have it over there. If you don't want this, you can always change the background color, okay? But I prefer to use the other way around, so you don't kill the pixel that you're going to use or that. These are the main configuration that we have for the page. Then in the top, once you are selected the screen or the page, you can add options. So for example, you have the line, rectangle, we have the possibility to insert image, insert animations, we have the possibility to insert a new button, the checkbox. Some of the elements, okay, are not available here to use because the same environment that we use for the embedded display is to use with the display M172 display that is for the color, okay, color and touch, okay, but it's the same environment. And something that you may need to know is that even if you add objects here with color, okay, images with color, it's going to be monochromatic, okay. In the simulation, it appears with the color, but in the real life, it's going to be monochromatic. Okay, so here we have the progress bar. This one, no. New chart, no. Here is to align the options that we want. This is always to send back, forward. Here, this is not available on this part, but let's go, for example, for this. This is going to be a button. So here you have the possibility, when you click the button, here you have the position. So here is going to be this position over here. And this is the dimension for the X and a Y. In order to check how is the amount of pixels that we have, I don't know if you pay attention, but here you have the screen size. Okay, so if you have an image, the image must be related to this size. You cannot play with the image size. The size that you have for pixels is going to be that. You cannot change that. Imagine this is just an embedded display, monochromatic. If you want an HMI, then you just go for an HMI, right, and embedded display. But this to change some of the information is quite nice. So just give it a go. Okay, so here you have the button. Here you have the possibility to put some text. For example, next. Usually use this, next. You can't, having some issue with the mouse today. So next, for the next screen, you can put it over here, for example. And something important is that you will need to probably replicate the same text again, because here we are working in a, this is not a touch screen, okay, it's a display. So what I'm going to do is to show you what's happened here. I just copy and paste. So this is going to be the behavior of having this next. I'm going to copy and paste this one again. Let's see if I can compile. Sim PLC. This is just an introduction. Okay, I'm going to go further for each of the different topics that we have for this. It's just for you to get started with the with the embedded display. Okay, so here I have made a simulation. This one is a simulation. I create my own simulated PLC, and I download the application. Here you can see, okay, that the object is selected. If we go to the description, let me just put this. If you go to the description of this button, here you can see text image is next, which is fine, but the text when it's selected is empty. Okay, now if I move to the next position using the up or down, you can see this one is selected because the background selection is the background. Okay, so you have to change that or add it 2 times. Okay, the send text, so you should be able to know where you are. So that's something very important to know. If you go back again here and select, you have this option, which is the selection order. This selection order is related to the order of this object that you're going to have, and that will help you to move around the display. So this one is number 1, number 2, number 3. So if I go up, it will change which is the selection. Okay, of course it will depend on how you organize and change the things to make it more easy for the customer. But once you are selected or you are in the object, then you just press enter to execute the thing that you have already assigned to that specific object. So in this particular case, this button has this action, and based on the action that we have the possibility to call a procedure that's going to be an action or a script to be executed. Then we can also open a page, close a page, or move to the next field, next option number, go to the previous one, or edit. So all these are the different options that we have. So I'm going to create a new screen here just to show you how we can navigate. So next, I'm going to remove this again. Next, so I'm going to create a new page. So in order to create a new page, this is easy. Right click on pages, insert page. I'm going to use, for example, this is something that I've been doing on, for example, Video Designer, and to organize the screen. So it's going to be ID 010 underscore whatever I want. So I'm going to be menu. Here you have possibility to go for pop-up, but I'm going to explain that later. Okay. So, okay. Here you can see it creates. Now, here I can define, for example, title. I'm going to set menu. Here on page, I'm going to copy this one. For go to next, I'm going to copy and paste again. I'm going to put something like back. So back. It was the other way around. Different option. Okay, back. So in the menu, I'm going to open page. So this one, I'm going to delete it. So we can go from menu to the main. This is just a simple example, then you can go further. So in order to identify much better this, I'm going to add text. So here we have a static text. So this is something that we can put over there and just define a constant text, static. Or we have the possibility to use a new edit that basically is going to be a text that came from a variable that you have. But right now we're going to focus on this one. So here is the string variable. It's going to be fixed. I'm going to set hello world. And then on the menu, How are you? So we have the text. We have already put this, and then if you want, we can have some lines. Okay, here we have the position for the initial and the end. We can change the thickness, the border color, this monochromatic black and white, but we have the possibility to do this. Okay, and then we can add the rectangle over here, just a face. You can be more creative and create the things that you want, or add an image. It's up to you. So then what we can do also is to move around. So in order to move around, okay, it will depend on how we want to move to one page to the other. Okay, and that is depend on the mode that we have. So I usually use hierarchical. Okay, right now it's in flat, so I'm going to show you what happens if you do what I'm going to do. So from the next, this button for the main screen, I'm going to use this option, open page. So I'm going to open a page. That page is going to be this ID. So what I need to do is to manually enter the name of that ID. So it's going to be ID 010 underscore menu. And now you will think it will be much better to have a display, a drop box with a name. Yes, that would be great, but we don't have that option. I know. So now with this one, I'm going to call the other one. And now with this one, I'm going to call back the page one. So here we're going to do the same. Open page, page one. Okay. Now, if you want to compile this, if I'm wrong, you're going to get an error. So with this one, we compile. Here we should be able to see the things. Let me see. Page one. There we go. So hierarchical is the one that uses the pop-up method. My bad, it was the other way around. So hierarchical is the one that you can use for call the pop-up. Okay, so it's like an order. You need to open, 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 and then to go to the beginning, you need to close, close, close. Okay, for the flat, everything is in the same level, so you can jump to one to the other. So now it makes sense, the name hierarchical and flat. My bad. So if you, I believe by default in the previous version was in hierarchical, or maybe I just left it. So hierarchical, it means that, so if you're trying to jump to one page to another, you will receive that message error. Okay, parent page evoking a child. So that's why you get an error. So for that, you will need to change this and close. So we will close this menu. So if we compile again, hopefully it should work. Okay, there is no warning. So if we go back and simulate this, just to show you that it works and how it works. So this is the simulation I need to download with this, and then it will, hopefully it will change this. So here I have the face. So if I select next, it's already selected because it's only one selectable object over here. Okay, how are you? Back, and you have the navigation. This is one way to do it, which is the hierarchical. So open, 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 close, close, open, open, close, 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 close. Simple as that. To be honest, I'm not used to working that way. I used to work with the traditional HMIs or the operator terminal expert, so everything is flat and you can jump to another one and then you can go back. So if you're used to working that way, then we just need to use flat, and here instead of close we just need to go for open page, and the open page is going to be the first one, in this case page 1. So if we compile, we should get no errors at all. Completed download, because I'm going to change this the program, the logic. Okay, then okay, and it's going to be exactly the same. But you can see here there is no code. It's the code of PLC. The PLC doesn't have any code. I just use it on the display, which is fine. It works. So don't worry, I'm connected with this simulation and it's working fine. So this is how you can make some kind of navigation. I'm going to explain that in more details, probably much better next time. But this is how you can make some navigation between screens. Then if you want to add objects to here, basically you have this. These are the system menus or the system variables that we're going to have. So if once you have one of the variables, you can drag and drop it. Okay, for example, I don't know, sys version here, and you have progress, animation control, edit control. You have over here. You have also a possibility to create variables from the PLC. They're going to show you that. So in the configuration, just need to create variables. So it's going to be I bar 1, and then another one here, ICFG bar 2. You compile over here this part, and then the variables that you have already created here will be available on the display part. So here we have a new, you didn't see it, we have a new tab over here in the HMI bars and parameters. Before it was only target bars. Now we have the local parameters, and here we have all the variables coming from the PLC. Okay, we have the BIOS parameters, and we have the EEPROM and the status. So once we have those, you can see here we have the bar 2, and we have the I bar 1. Okay, if you don't want to see in that way, you have the progress control, and here you can see the variable. Okay, you can access. Now that you have different elements, you can see the selection order. Selection order 2, 4, 3, and this one doesn't have. Okay, so for example, load limit, I believe 0, and this one 100. So what I'm going to do now is to open the simulation, just connect, just to show you that I can do something. So here I'm going to download everything. Yeah, download all. So it has the EEPROM parameters and the status, and we can play a little bit around. So here you can see there is source. Yeah. I'm just checking if I don't have the PLC connected, but no, it's in simulation. So next, you can see I have this, so I can navigate now. I'm going to change this to you need to find the number 5061, and here you can see how it changed. Okay, this is the thing that you need to check, is that you need to change each digit. Okay, that you're going to make the change of the variable that you're going to use. But it's going to be easy, each digit or each character. Okay, the important thing is that in order to see variables from the PLC, you just need to create it on the status or the EEPROM variables, and then those variables will be available for you on the display. So that's the idea. Okay, just going to explain you just a little bit quickly, and then we go into each detail. We also have possibility to create some internal variables. Okay, here with this new record, we create a new variable, aux variable. The type is going to be the int. You can have some attributes. It's going to be something constant. You can put it or array, and it's going to be here, and it will be available for us to use on the screen. So page 1, and here we have again the variable. Each page had the possibility to have local variables, okay, or local procedures. So I'm going to explain that later because that will require something else. So I'm going to explain that later, but we had the possibility to create some script in order to access to data from the PLC to read it and then write it back using some of the function called video_get_param or video_set_param. And we also had the possibility to use a script to execute an event. So we have video_send event, if I'm not wrong, and then you can simulate the action of a virtual key. So here in the global action, we have local actions and global actions. So for example, if you are in one particular page, you can have the local action, and you can say, for example, long enter will be to open the main page, the initial page, to go back to normal. Or you can call a specific procedure. Though in this case I don't have any, but I have the possibility to create, for example, here insert procedure reset, and here in call we have procedure reset. Okay, we had the possibility to use virtual keys. Okay, so we have to 10 virtual keys to do something, and that I'm going to explain that later, but this is just an overview. Probably it's a little bit long. So far it's 30 minutes, so long, but this is just an overview, so you can get started until you wait for the next of the videos. We have lower procedures that you can create just one here, and then this one, if you select it, you can call it over here, the global on timer, to be executed in every cycle. Then we have the resources, we have bitmaps. It's going to be the images that you want, but you need to remember the size of the screen. The size of the screen will limit the size of the image that you're going to use, so you need to pay attention to that one. You have possibility to use enums. That's going to be easy. So depending on the value that we're going to have, the change. So for example, you are using a Boolean variable for on and off. So let's create one just to show you. So here, so it's going to be alarm 01. Okay, the type is going to be Boolean. Okay, so here you're using in your page menu to indicate if everything is well. So alarm, and here we're going to use this. Doesn't matter. We're gonna change. So here in enumeratives, we can add a new one, enum rename, so it's enum alarm. Double click, and here we have the possibility. So when the value is 0, okay, error. So if everything is okay, 0, okay. If it's in true, the value is in true, error. So again, here, when you drag and drop the variable from here to here, edit control, just put it over here just to show you change. Here we have the possibility to change the visualization of that specific object. So for example, here I'm going to use the format, and in the format we have this enumerative, and here we just need to select this enum that we have already created. You should be able to see all these icons. It means that it needs to compile. Don't worry, don't pay too much attention. Okay, and here we also have the possibility to define if this object is going to be read and write or just read only. So in this case, it's going to be read only. I don't want to change the value. So now let's simulate and see what happens. So it will not change this until I compile. So just to show you that's gonna be working. So yes. No errors. And here you can find I'm okay. There is no error at all. And if I move, it just go from this one to this option without selecting this. because it's read-only and it's not selectable, I believe. Selectable, yes, it's true, but it's read-only, so it will not do anything. So now if I change this to 1, okay, error. And it can be applied to an internal local variable or to the one for the PLC. Okay, so we have a string tables, but I believe this will be the main thing for you to start playing with the embedded display. There is a lot of features. Okay, we have the possibility to read and write parameters to the PLC in order to execute an action, an event. We have access to the BIOS parameters, so you can have your own predefined pages and you can export it once again. The important thing, I believe, is to get a nice name here, an easy name in order to access and identify or organize your pages. So this is everything I can show you for the moment about the embedded display, how to get started with embedded display of the Modicon M172. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I see you in the next one.